The giant screen lit up the command center. High Commander Du-hyun stood with his 4 arms crossed behind his back. His blue skin reflected the light from thousands of stars on the display. "Another solar system to check," he said. His voice was deep and tired. "How many worlds have we seen this month, Ta-1?" Scout Ta-1 looked up from his control panel. 43, sir. This is the 44th. Do-hyun nodded. The Galactic Council had given them the job of finding and studying new life forms. So far, they had found over 3,000 different species on 2,000 planets. It was important work, but sometimes boring. "Show me the 3rd planet," ordered Du-hyun. The screen zoomed in on a blue and green world. It looked like many others they had seen before. "Life signs?" asked Du-hyun. "Many," said Ta-1. "Plant life, animal life, and—" He paused, looking closer at his readings. "One dominant species that shows signs of intelligence. They have cities, vehicles, and primitive space travel." "Interesting," said Du-hyun, though his voice didn't sound very interested. "Add it to the catalog. Mark it for basic study." But Ta-1 kept looking at his screen. "Sir, there's something unusual about this species." Do-hyun raised one eyebrow. "What is it?" "They appear physically weak compared to Class 3 species we've encountered. No enhanced strength, no natural armor, no special abilities. Yet they're the dominant species on their planet." Now Du-hyun was truly interested. He walked over to Ta-1's station. "How is that possible? What do they have that gives them an advantage?" Ta-1 shook his head. "I can't tell from these scans. Their technology is primitive. They haven't even left their own solar system yet, but they've spread across their entire planet." "Send the data to the science team," said Du-hyun. "I want a complete analysis." 3 days later, Sinobiologist Jae-ho stood in front of High Commander Du-hyun and the Council's Science Division. His presentation showed images of the blue planet and its inhabitants. "They call themselves humans and their planet Earth," explained Jae-ho. "They have no claws, no powerful muscles, no thick skin, and no natural weapons. They are soft, fragile creatures." "Then how have they survived?" asked one of the council members. Jae-ho pointed to a diagram of a human brain. "We believe it's this. Their brains are more complex than we expected. They use tools and work together in large groups. They adapt to different environments without changing their bodies." Do-hyun leaned forward. "Are they a threat?" "No," said Jae-ho confidently. "Their weapons are chemical and nuclear-based, very primitive. Their ships can barely reach their nearest planet. They would be no match for our technology." Do-hyun thought for a moment. "I want to know more about these humans. Prepare a research team. We'll send you to study them up close." Jae-ho looked surprised. "Is that necessary, sir? They seem quite ordinary." "There's something about them that doesn't make sense," said Du-hyun. "How could such weak creatures become dominant on a planet with much stronger animals? I want answers." "Yes, sir," said Jae-ho. "When do we leave?" "Immediately," said Du-hyun. "Take Min and Ho-jun with you. Set up an observation post in orbit. Study their biology, their behavior, their societies. And Jae-ho—" "Yes, sir." "You may take specimens for study if needed. Just don't let them know you're there. The Council prefers we observe primitive species without interfering." Jae-ho nodded. "We'll be careful, sir." As Jae-ho left to prepare for the mission, Du-hyun turned back to the screen showing Earth. Something about these humans bothered him. In his long career exploring the galaxy, he had learned to trust his instincts, and his instincts told him there was more to these simple creatures than their scans revealed. What he didn't know was how right he was, and how dangerous this simple mission would become. The alien ship hung silently above Earth. No human radars could detect it. Inside, Jae-ho watched the main screen as Ho-jun prepared the lab for the day's work. "It's been 3 weeks," said Jae-ho. "What have we learned about these humans?" Ho-jun looked up from his instruments. "They are even weaker than we thought. Their bones break easily. Their skin tears. They get tired quickly. Yet they build cities and machines, said Jio. They fight wars. They survive in deserts and in frozen lands. It's their brains, said Hejun. They think and plan. That's all. Min entered the lab, pushing a floating platform. On it lay 3 sleeping humans, a large muscular man in work clothes, a thin woman in running clothes, and a young man with a backpack. Today's specimens, said Min. A construction worker, a marathon runner, and a college student. Different body types for our tests. Jaiho nodded. Wake them. Let's begin. Min pressed a button, and the 3 humans slowly opened their eyes. They looked around in fear and confusion. The aliens had made their holding cells look like normal human rooms to keep them calm. Run the standard tests first, said Jaiho. Heart rate, brain activity, muscle strength. Hejun moved to his control panel. I've been thinking about something. All species have weaknesses. What if we test their resistance to disease? Jaiho looked concerned. That wasn't in our plan. Just a small test, said Hejun. We have a sample of the Vex virus. It kills all known species in the galaxy within hours. Even our people die from it without treatment. But it's harmless to us with our protective suits. What's the point of such a test? Asked Jaiho. To see how quickly they die, said Hejun. Different species die at different speeds. It might tell us something about their biology. Jaiho thought for a moment. Fine, but use a very small dose. We need them alive for the other tests. Hejun took a small container from a locked cabinet. Inside was a glowing green liquid. He put 1 drop into the air system of each human's room. Now we wait, he said. It should take effect in about 1 hour. The aliens watched the humans closely. The construction worker was pounding on the walls of his room. The runner was doing exercises. The student was examining everything, looking for a way out. After 1 hour, all 3 humans began to cough. Their faces turned red. They lay down on their beds, clearly in pain. It's working, said Hejun. Just as expected. How long until they die? Asked Min. Based on their body mass, about 3 hours, said Hejun. But 3 hours passed, and the humans were still alive. They were sick, very sick, but alive. Something's wrong, said Hejun, checking his instruments. They should be dead by now. 6 hours passed. The humans were sweating and shaking with fever, but their vital signs had stopped getting worse. Impossible, said Hejun. No species can survive the Vex virus this long without treatment. After 12 hours, the construction worker sat up in bed. He still looked sick, but he was drinking water. The runner and the student were sleeping, but their breathing was stronger. I don't understand, said Hejun. The virus is still in their bodies, but it's not killing them. Their systems are fighting it. Jaiho stared at the humans with new interest. These creatures are full of surprises. By the next morning, all 3 humans were recovering. They were weak but alive. The virus that killed every other known species had failed to kill them. Jaiho immediately sent a message to High Commander Dovyun. Important discovery about humans. They have survived something no other species can survive. Request permission for more advanced testing. Do-hyun's reply came quickly. Permission granted. I'm coming to see this myself. Jaiho looked at the recovering humans. For the first time, he felt a strange feeling, respect mixed with fear. What other surprises did these simple creatures hold? High Commander Do-hyun stepped onto the research ship with 4 guards behind him. His face was serious as Jaiho greeted him. Show me these humans, Do-hyun ordered. Jaiho led the way to the observation room. Through the large window, they could see 10 humans in a big space made to look like a human building. Some sat at tables. Others walked around. 2 were playing a card game. These are all test subjects? Asked Do-hyun. Yes, sir, said Jaiho. We now have 10. The first 3 who survived the Vex virus are there. He pointed to the construction worker. the runner, and the student. They look fully recovered, said Do-hyun, surprised. That's what makes them interesting, said Jae-ho. They don't just survive. They heal completely. A new person entered the observation room. She was shorter than the others, with a medical uniform and a tablet in her hands. This is Sunmi, our chief medical officer, said Jae-ho. Sunmi bowed to Do-hyun. Sir, I've been studying the human recovery process. It's unlike anything I've seen before. Explain, said Do-hyun. Their bodies don't just fight the virus, said Sunmi. They remember it. If we give them the same virus again, they fight it faster. They adapt. Do-hyun's eyes widened. That's very unusual. There's more, said Sunmi. We've tested other things too. Radiation, extreme temperatures, pressure changes, poisons. They get sick or hurt, but they survive levels that would kill most species. How is this possible? Asked Do-hyun. Their cells can repair damage in ways ours cannot, said Sunmi. And they have backup systems. If one organ fails, others work harder. Their bodies are simple but very good at staying alive. Do-hyun walked closer to the window. I want more tests. Push them harder. Find their breaking point. Jae-ho looked worried. Sir, we've already gone beyond our normal testing limits. This isn't a normal situation, said Do-hyun sharply. If these humans are this hard to kill, we need to know why. The council will want a full report. Yes, sir, said Jae-ho. What tests should we run first? Everything, said Do-hyun. Physical trauma, mental stress, sleep deprivation. I want to know how their bodies and minds respond to all types of danger. Over the next week, the aliens ran many tests on the humans. They broke bones to see how they healed. They caused cuts to watch them close. They kept humans awake for days. They put them in rooms with no air, then brought them back just before they would die. Sunmi carefully recorded everything. One night, while reviewing her data, she noticed something strange. Jae-ho, she called. Look at this. Jae-ho came to her screen. What is it? The healing rates, said Sunmi. They're getting faster. The humans are adapting to our tests. Their bodies are learning to recover more quickly. Jae-ho frowned. That's not possible. The data shows it clearly, said Sunmi. And there's something else. The college student, Kim, his brain waves have changed. He's developing new neural patterns I haven't seen before. Suddenly, alarms began to sound throughout the ship. Security breach in Section 4. A voice announced over the speakers. Jae-ho and Sunmi rushed to the control room. Do-hyun was already there, looking at the security screens. What's happening? Asked Jae-ho. It's Kim, said Do-hyun. He's escaped his room. The screens showed open doors and confused guards, but Kim was nowhere to be seen. How did he get out? Asked Jae-ho. The locks need alien fingerprints to open. We don't know, said one of the guards. The door just opened. Find him, ordered Do-hyun. Lock down the ship. He can't be allowed to access sensitive areas or contact Earth. As the guards rushed away, Sunmi looked worried. Sir, I don't think Kim escaped by accident. What do you mean? Asked Do-hyun. His brain patterns have been changing, said Sunmi. I think our tests have made him smarter, more adaptive. We may have created something dangerous. Do-hyun's face darkened. Find him. Now. The ship's red alarm lights flashed as guards searched for the escaped human. They checked every room, every hallway, and every storage area, but they couldn't find Kim. It's been 3 days, said Do-hyun angrily. How can one human hide on this ship for so long? Jae-ho looked at the ship maps on the screen. We've searched everywhere twice. He must be moving between areas we've already checked. Or he's dead, said Hejun. Maybe he got into an area with no air or too much heat. Sunmi shook her head. I don't think so. Look at these reports. She showed them her tablet. Small amounts of food are missing from the kitchen. Tools are missing from repair rooms. And look at this. She pulled up a security video. It showed an empty hallway. Then a panel in the ceiling moved slightly. The air shafts, said Jai-Ho. He's in the ventilation system. But those spaces are too small for anyone to move through, said Hejun. Not for humans, said Sunmei. They're more flexible than us. Their bodies can squeeze into tight spaces. Do-hyun frowned. So he's hiding in the walls and ceilings. But what is he doing? Why take tools? At that moment, the lights in the command center went out. Then emergency lights came on. What's happening? Demanded Do-hyun. Power failure in sections 2 through 5, reported a crew member. Backup systems are working, but main power is down. That's not possible, said Jai-Ho. The main power system has multiple backups. Unless someone has damaged it on purpose, said Sunmei quietly. Everyone looked at her. The human? Asked Do-hyun. How could he know how our systems work? He's been watching us, said Sunmei. Listening to us. Learning. In her lab, Sunmei worked late that night. She was studying human blood samples when she heard a noise. She turned around slowly. Kim stood in the doorway. He was thin and tired-looking, but his eyes were alert. He held an alien tool that could cut through metal. Don't call the guards, he said in perfect alien language. Sunmei froze. You speak our language. I've been listening for weeks, said Kim. Your language isn't hard to learn. What do you want? Asked Sunmei. To understand why you're doing this to us, said Kim. And to show you something. He walked to her computer and connected a small device he had made from stolen parts. The screen showed new images of human cells. Look, he said, you've been studying us wrong. Sunmei looked at the screen. The images showed human cells repairing themselves in ways she hadn't seen before. How did you get these? She asked. I took samples for myself and used your equipment at night, said Kim. You aliens think we're simple, but we're not simple. We're complex in different ways. Sunmei looked closer at the images. These cell structures, they're adapting as I watch. Yes, said Kim. That's what makes us hard to kill. We don't just heal. We get better, stronger. Every time you hurt us, we learn from it. That's impossible, said Sunmei. No species can. Your species can't, said Kim. You evolved to be specialized, good at specific things. We evolved to be adaptable, good at surviving anything. Sunmei realized he was right. The human body wasn't primitive as they had thought. It was a marvel of adaptability. There's more, said Kim. Our brains do the same thing. When you tested us, pushed us, our minds adapted too. I'm smarter now than I was when you took me. Sunmei looked at him with new understanding. That's how you escaped. How you learned our language so fast. Kim nodded. And it's how all humans will respond if you try to harm Earth. We won't just fight back. We'll adapt, improve, become harder to kill each time you try. For the first time, Sunmei felt afraid of this simple-looking creature. She reached slowly for the alarm button. I wouldn't, said Kim. I've already set up something that will release all the human test subjects if I don't return to my hiding place. Sunmei stopped. What do you want from me? Help me, said Kim. Or when your leaders decide to attack Earth, you'll learn just how hard humans are to kill. The Galactic Council chamber was silent as Do-hyun finished his report. So these humans are more dangerous than we thought, said the head counselor. Yes, said Do-hyun. Their bodies adapt to damage. Their minds grow stronger under stress. And one of them, Kim, is still hiding somewhere on the research ship. We've had to lock down entire sections. What about the other test subjects? Asked another counselor. Still contained, said Do-hyun. But they're showing similar changes. They're getting stronger, learning faster. And if these humans warn their planet about us? Asked the head counselor. That would be very bad, said Do-hyun. Earth has billions of humans. If they all started preparing for us. The council members looked at each other with worry. "We need more data," said the head counselor finally. "And we need to make sure Earth doesn't learn about us yet. Do-hyun, you have permission to capture more humans. Take 3 warships. Go to a less populated area. Be quick and quiet." Do-hyun bowed. "Yes, head counselor." 3 massive alien ships appeared over Seoul, South Korea, early on a Monday morning. They were huge black triangles that blocked the sun. People stopped in the streets to look up. Cars crashed. Phones came out to take pictures. News helicopters flew closer to see. "This wasn't the plan," said Jae-ho, standing next to Do-hyun on the command ship. "You said we would go to a less populated area." "Plans change," said Do-hyun coldly. "The council wants results. This city has 25 million humans to study. But now all of Earth will know about us," said Jae-ho. "It doesn't matter," said Do-hyun. "They can't stop us." Down below, Jun-seo watched the ships from his university office window. As a history professor, he knew what was happening. An invasion. He grabbed his phone and laptop and ran to the basement. The alien ships sent down smaller craft that landed in city parks and wide streets. Alien soldiers in black armor came out. They carried weapons that shot beams of blue light. Anyone hit by the beams fell down, unconscious but alive. The aliens began collecting humans, putting them in containers on their ships. They expected it to be easy, but it wasn't. At first, people ran away in fear, but soon they began to fight back. Police came with guns. Their bullets couldn't hurt the alien armor much, but they slowed the aliens down. Military forces arrived with tanks and helicopters. The aliens were surprised. They had better technology, but the humans were quick to adapt. When humans saw that the aliens wanted to capture, not kill, they used this knowledge. They set traps. They played dead, then attacked. They used buildings and underground tunnels to move around. In his basement office, Jun-seo was busy. He had studied human warfare throughout history. Now he was posting instructions online how to fight an enemy with better technology. Use simple weapons. Attack in groups. Hit and run. Hide and wait. People across Seoul read his advice and spread it. Soon, the aliens were facing resistance everywhere. "This isn't working," Jae-ho told Do-hyun after 3 days. "We've only captured a few thousand humans. We've lost 20 soldiers. The humans keep changing their tactics." "How is this possible?" demanded Do-hyun. "They have sticks and chemical weapons. We have energy beams and force fields." "They adapt," said Sun-mai, who had been quiet until now. "Just like Kim showed me. They watch what works and what doesn't. They change. They improve." "The Earth governments are now working together," reported an officer. "They're sharing information. Military forces from nearby countries are coming to help." Do-hyun looked at the battle maps with growing concern. His ships were powerful, but they couldn't be everywhere. And the humans kept finding new ways to fight back. "We need more ships," he said. "Much more." But as he said it, Do-hyun wondered if even that would be enough. How do you defeat an enemy that gets stronger every time you hit them? 2 weeks after the aliens attacked Seoul, the world was ready to fight back. Countries that were once enemies now worked together against the alien threat. In a secret underground lab in Seoul, Dr. Yoon stood in front of a damaged alien ship. The small craft had crashed during a battle. Now human scientists from many countries studied it day and night. "Have you found anything useful?" asked Jun-seo, who had become a leader in the resistance. Dr. Yoon smiled and lifted a metal device. "This is their communication system. We've learned how it works." "Can we use it?" asked Jun-seo. "Better," said Dr. Yoon. "We can listen to them, hear their plans, and they won't know." Across the city, teams of engineers worked on other alien technology. They found ways to block the blue stun beams. They learned how the alien armor worked. Each discovery made humans better fighters. Up in space, Du Hyun received bad news. 3 more capture teams lost contact, reported an officer. What's happening down there? Demanded Du Hyun. The humans have adapted to our weapons, said Jio. They're wearing materials that block our scanners. They're using our own technology against us. Impossible, said Du Hyun. They can't learn that fast. They share information, said Sunma. What one human learns, they all learn. They pass knowledge quickly. Du Hyun looked at the battle maps. His forces controlled only small areas now. Each day, they lost ground. The council has denied our request for more ships, said an officer. They say this mission is a failure. Du Hyun's face darkened with anger. We can still win. We have weapons in orbit that could destroy their cities. But that wasn't our mission, said Jio. We were sent to study humans, not destroy them. The mission has changed, said Du Hyun. Back on Earth, Dr. Yoon made an amazing discovery. Their ships have a weakness, she told world leaders on a video call. They use a special energy field for protection. But this field has a pattern. If we hit it with the right signal, it will fail. Can we create such a signal? Asked a military general. We already have, said Dr. Yoon, holding up a small device. This will disable their systems for 30 seconds. Not long, but enough time to strike. How close do we need to be? Asked Jun Seo. Very close, said Dr. Yoon. Someone must get this device next to each of their 3 main ships. Jun Seo nodded. I'll take one. We'll need 2 more brave volunteers. The plan was set. 3 teams would approach the alien ships when they came low to collect captured humans. Jun Seo would target the main command ship where Du Hyun was. The night of the attack, Jun Seo led his team through underground tunnels. They came up near a park where the aliens gathered humans. The command ship is coming, whispered a team member, looking at a tracker. The massive ship moved slowly overhead, blocking the stars. A smaller craft came down to pick up containers of captured humans. Now, said Jun Seo. His team rushed forward. They wore special clothing that blocked alien scanners. They carried weapons made from alien technology. They fought their way onto the small craft as it loaded containers. Get down, shouted Jun Seo as alien soldiers fired at them. 2 of his team fell, but the others kept fighting. They reached the control room of the small craft. An alien pilot tried to stop them, but Jun Seo used a human-made copy of an alien stun weapon. The pilot fell. Take us up to the main ship, Jun Seo told a team member who had learned to fly alien craft. As they rose toward the command ship, Jun Seo prepared the signal device. The other 2 teams reported they were also in position near the other ships. On my mark, said Jun Seo over the radio. 3, 2, 1, now. All 3 teams activated their devices at the same time. On the command ship, alarms sounded as systems failed. Lights went out. Weapons stopped working. Do Hyun looked around in shock as his ship went dark. What's happening? The humans, said Sunma quietly. They've adapted again. For the first time, fear showed on Do Hyun's face. The hunters had become the hunted. The Galactic Council meeting room was tense. Do Hyun stood before them, his head bowed in shame. You failed, said the head counselor. 3 ships damaged, many soldiers lost, and the humans now know about us. The humans were unexpected, said Do Hyun. They learned too quickly. They adapt to everything we do. This is a serious problem, said another counselor. If humans can defeat our ships, they might someday threaten the entire galaxy. The room was quiet for a moment. We need more information, said the head counselor finally. Not through force, but through stealth. We need someone to live among the humans, to learn their secrets, their plans. All eyes turned to a figure standing quietly in the corner. Hyun was the council's best spy. He had successfully infiltrated 12 different alien worlds. Can you make yourself look human? Asked the head counselor. Hyun nodded. Our scientists have studied the human form. With some surgery and genetic modification, I can pass as one of them. Good, said the head counselor. Your mission is to go to Earth, learn how they think, find their weaknesses, discover how they were able to adapt so quickly to our technology. I understand, said Hyun. Do-hyun looked unhappy. This is too slow. We should attack with a larger force before they get stronger. No, said the head counselor firmly. We will be patient. Hyun, prepare for your mission. 3 months later, a new scientist named Dr. Lee joined Dr. Yoon's research team in Seoul. No one knew he was really Hyun, the alien spy. His disguise was perfect. He looked human. He spoke Korean perfectly. His fake background papers were flawless. Dr. Yoon welcomed him to the lab where they studied alien technology. We're trying to understand how their ships work, she explained. If they come back, we want to be ready. Hyun nodded, looking at the alien parts spread on tables. It was strange to see his own technology taken apart this way. What did you study before joining us? Asked Dr. Yoon. Human biology and psychology, said Hyun. I want to understand why we survived when the aliens expected us to fail. Dr. Yoon smiled. That's a good question. Come, let me show you something interesting. Over the next few weeks, Hyun learned much about humans. He was surprised by how quickly they had understood alien technology. He sent secret reports back to the council. The humans are making fast progress, he wrote. They have already built working copies of our communication devices and energy systems, but there is something more interesting about them. Hyun had noticed that humans lived with constant danger and pain, yet kept going. They got sick, but worked through it. They lost loved ones, but continued living. They faced problems that seemed impossible, yet never gave up. One day, Hyun went with Dr. Yoon and her team to a human gathering called a concert. People were playing music, and others were dancing and singing. Why do you do this? Asked Hyun, genuinely curious. It has no survival value. Dr. Yoon laughed. Not everything is about survival. We also live for joy, for beauty. Hyun thought about this. His people had art and music too, but it was formal, planned. Human music was wild, changing, full of emotion. Later that week, Hyun met Jun Seo, the history professor who had led the resistance. Jun Seo now helped train people to be ready if the aliens returned. What makes humans fight so hard? Hyun asked him. Jun Seo thought for a moment. Hope, he said. We always believe we can win, even when it seems impossible. And we fight hardest when protecting others, not just ourselves. That night, Hyun sent another report to the council. Humans have a quality I cannot fully explain. They feel fear, pain, and loss deeply. But these things don't stop them. Instead, these feelings seem to make them stronger, more determined. He looked out at the city lights of Seoul. Millions of humans, each with their own hopes and fears, working together when needed. For the first time in his career as a spy, Hyun felt conflicted about his mission. The truth about why humans are so hard to kill, he wrote, may be more complex than we thought. Do-hyun stood alone in his private chamber on the council space station. 6 months had passed since the failed attack on Earth. 6 months of waiting for Hyun's reports. 6 months of growing anger. A message appeared on his screen. It was from the head counselor. Your presence is requested immediately. Do-hyun hurried to the council chamber. All 12 counselors were there, reading data tablets. You've read Hyun's latest report? Asked the head counselor. Do-hyun nodded. Yes, the humans continue to study our technology. They are building their own versions of our ships. Soon they may be able to leave their solar system. This cannot be allowed, said another counselor. If humans spread to other worlds, with their ability to adapt and grow stronger, they would be unstoppable. Finished Do-hyun. We must act now, while they are still contained on one planet. The head counselor looked troubled. The council is divided on this matter. Some believe we should try to make peace with the humans, Others think we should leave them alone and hope they never find us. Both options are too risky, said Do-hyun. I have a different solution. He touched his tablet, and an image appeared on the main screen. It showed a complex molecule. What is this? Asked the head counselor. A bioweapon, said Do-hyun. Designed specifically for humans. It targets the very thing that makes them special, their adaptability. The counselors looked surprised and concerned. The council has forbidden bioweapons since the next conflict, said the head counselor. This is different, argued Do-hyun. This weapon won't kill humans. It will only remove their unusual ability to adapt and improve. They'll be like normal species, still alive, just not dangerous. The council members looked at each other uncertainly. We need time to consider this, said the head counselor finally. Do-hyun bowed his head. Of course. I await your decision. But when he left the chamber, Do-hyun's face showed a different emotion. He had no intention of waiting. On Earth, Hyun was meeting with Dr. Yoon and Jun Seo in the research lab. For months, he had been helping them study alien technology, while secretly reporting back to the council. But now, Hyun was worried. You look troubled, said Dr. Yoon. Hyun nodded. He had made a big decision. I need to tell you something important, something dangerous. Jun Seo's eyes narrowed. What is it? The aliens, my people, are planning something, said Hyun. A weapon to use against humans. Dr. Yoon and Jun Seo stared at him. Your people, said Jun Seo, reaching for a weapon hidden under the table. I am what you would call a spy, said Hyun calmly. I was sent to learn about humans after the attack failed. But I've learned more than expected. I've learned that my people are wrong about yours. Why should we believe you? Asked Jun Seo. Because I'm risking everything to warn you, said Hyun. Do-hyun, the commander who led the attack on Seoul, has created a bioweapon. It targets human DNA, the parts that make you adaptable. He plans to release it soon. If what you say is true, millions could die, said Dr. Yoon. Not die, corrected Hyun. The weapon won't kill. It will change you, make you less than you are. Take away what makes humans special. Jun Seo looked doubtful. Why would you betray your own people to help us? Hyun was quiet for a moment. Because in my time here, I've seen what Do-hyun hasn't. Humans are different, yes. Dangerous, perhaps, but also creative, kind, and hopeful in ways my people have forgotten. Do-hyun wants to destroy what he fears. I want to preserve what I've come to admire. Dr. Yoon studied Hyun's face. If this is true, what can we do? We must stop the weapon before it's deployed, said Hyun. Do-hyun will come himself to oversee the attack. He doesn't trust anyone else. How do we stop an alien ship in space? Asked Jun Seo. Hyun smiled slightly. With another alien ship, I know where one is hidden that we can use. We? Asked Jun Seo. Yes, said Hyun, if you'll accept my help. Jun Seo and Dr. Yoon looked at each other for a long moment. Then Jun Seo extended his hand to Hyun. It seems humans aren't the only ones who can adapt, he said. A small alien ship moved silently through space. Inside, Jun Seo, Dr. Yoon, and 3 human soldiers sat nervously while Hyun piloted the craft. They were heading toward Do-hyun's command ship, which was approaching Earth with the bioweapon. Will they detect us? Asked Jun Seo. No, said Hyun. This is a stealth scout ship, and I know the codes to make them think we're friendly. Dr. Yoon checked her equipment. She had brought devices to fight the bioweapon if needed. Jun Seo and the soldiers checked their weapons, a mix of human and alien technology. There it is, said Hyun, pointing to a large ship ahead. He sent a signal, and the large ship allowed them to dock. When they landed in the docking bay, Hyun spoke quietly. Remember the plan. We find Do-hyun, stop the weapon, and contact the council with the truth. They moved through the ship carefully. Hyun led them through less used corridors. They had to hide several times when alien crew members walked by. Finally, they reached the main lab where the bioweapon was kept. "Wait," whispered Hyun. "Something's wrong. There are no guards." The door to the lab opened suddenly. Do-hyun stood there with 6 armed guards. "Welcome, traitor," he said to Hyun, "and welcome, humans. I've been expecting you." The guards took their weapons and led them into the lab. Inside was Sunmai, the medical officer from the first research ship. She looked sad when she saw Hyun with the humans. "How did you know we were coming?" asked Hyun. "Your messages to Earth weren't as secret as you thought," said Do-hyun. "I've known about your betrayal for weeks." "Then why let us board?" asked Jun-seo. "Because now I have more human specimens," said Do-hyun, "and I can test my weapon on you first." He pointed to a large container of glowing blue liquid. "This targets the special parts of human DNA that make you adapt so quickly. One drop in Earth's atmosphere, and your species will become ordinary. Still alive, just no longer special." "You can't do this," said Sunmi suddenly. Everyone looked at her in surprise. "Be quiet," ordered Do-hyun. "No," said Sunmi. "I've been quiet too long. These humans deserve to know the truth." "What truth?" asked Dr. Yoon. Sunmi looked at Do-hyun, then at the humans. "The reason Do-hyun fears you so much is not just because you're adaptable. It's because you show what we lost." "What do you mean?" asked Jun-seo. "Our species didn't evolve naturally," said Sunmi. "Thousands of years ago, our ancestors changed their own DNA to become perfect. They removed what they saw as flaws: pain, fear, the need to sleep, the ability to feel deep emotions. They made themselves stronger and smarter in specific ways. But they lost something important," added Hyun, now understanding. "They lost adaptability. They lost the ability to change and grow from challenges." "Yes," said Sunmi. "Humans are what natural evolution produces. Not perfect, but incredibly resilient and adaptable. You feel pain, but you learn from it. You experience fear, but you overcome it. You face challenges, and you become stronger." Do-hyun's face showed anger. "Enough. This changes nothing. Humans are still dangerous. If they spread to other worlds, they'll outcompete everyone else, just as they did with other species on Earth. Or they could help us," said Sunmi. "Help us regain what we lost." "The Council would never agree to that," said Do-hyun. "Let them decide," said a new voice. Everyone turned to see Kim, the college student who had escaped months ago. He stepped out from a hidden door. "I've been on this ship for weeks, sending messages to the Council. They're watching us right now." A large screen on the wall suddenly came to life, showing the faces of the Council members. "We have heard everything," said the head counselor. "Do-hyun, you have acted without permission. The bioweapon program is ended." "You don't understand the danger," shouted Do-hyun. "Perhaps we don't," said the head counselor. "But we will learn. Sunmi, you will lead a new research team, working with humans, not on them. Together, we will learn from each other." Do-hyun looked defeated. The guards, now taking orders from the council, took him away. As Jun-seo, Dr. Yoon, and Hyun prepared to return to Earth, Sunmi approached them. "Now you know the truth about why humans are so hard to kill," she said. "It's not a design flaw. It's your greatest strength."